It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights.
It's time to meet the puppets on Strange New Worlds tonight.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, John, this is what we call Mission Log Reactor.
And I guess that makes us Statler and Waldorf.
Then what are we doing here? Hello again, I'm Jessica Lynn Verdi.
And I'm John Champion, and it is time once again to dive into Strange New Worlds. And today it's Season 4, Episode 5, Level 5 Transporter Accident.
We are back with a brand new episode of Mission Log Reactor, and for the uninitiated, this is where we give you our first blush reactions to new Star Trek as it's coming out, and it just so happens that this is the puppet episode that just came out.
It is. I feel like I've been anticipating this puppet episode for so long, so I imagine a lot of you probably have thoughts just as we do, and we would love for you to share your thoughts with us. So give us a like, a subscribe, drop a comment down below, or better yet, chat with us live every Monday night during Strange New Worlds Season 4. That's 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern at patreon.com/missionlog to discuss each week's episode and share your thoughts. It is completely free. That whole thing I just described, free, no charge involved. Go to patreon.com/missionlog.
That's exactly right. Now, here's how we do it here on Mission Log Reactor. We don't hold back. There's all spoilers here. So this is your spoiler warning. You can't say that we didn't warn you. If you haven't watched this episode yet, press pause, keep this up on your browser or on your TV, because more people watch YouTube on TV nowadays. Go watch the episode, then come back, press unpause, and enjoy our spoiler-full review.
It's all puppets, all spoilers. That's what we got.
That's exactly right. Yeah. We're with no hold bar.
Right.
No holds barred. Anyway, John is going to begin the spoilage in 3, 2.
Spock is headed to Vulcan for a little logic brush-up, and the Enterprise is taking the slow road because of pirate activity. While Scotty works out a way to extend transporter range, why fly when you can beam? First test subject, a puppet named Little Ricky. Meanwhile, La'an and Spock are having the talk. Moving on, no regrets, all that heartbreaking stuff. La'an is still struggling with whatever's been eating away at her, while Spock takes it in Vulcan stride, which is to say he's got some things rattling around in his psyche, too. He calls to Pring, who offers to help, and agrees to come aboard the Enterprise, provided there are no hijinks. Let's put a pin in that, okay? Scotty begins the transporter test and dematerializes Little Ricky. Something goes terribly wrong. Everyone aboard the Enterprise and the ship itself begins phasing out. Spock, dropping pattern enhancers from a shuttle, is the only one unaffected. When the Enterprise rematerializes, everyone is back, but they're all puppets, Jessica.
Oh my, oops, all puppets.
Oops, all
I have to
yes, okay.
I have to say, I think there's a lot of people who feel very validated and heard, because when you do this on the internet with the memes, everyone would probably say everyone but Spock.
Yes. Yeah. Well, because look, Ethan Peck is so good, and I love seeing drunk Spock in the next to last episode. So yeah, sure. If you're going to let anybody be the straight man here, it's got to be Spock. It's got to be Ethan
I think
Peck.
that's right. It's a good setup. I have a feeling that this is going to be some people's favorite episode of the season. I have a feeling it's going to be some people's least favorite episode of the season. Mm-hmm. And I can understand everyone's feeling with regards to this, but I will remind you, if you're a Community fan, this is very much season 3, 4, and 5 of Community, where they just did genre, and there was a puppet episode. There was also a claymation episode, but there was definitely a puppet episode. So it was reminding me of that a little bit.
Okay, and look, hey, most of the actors, they kind of got the week off, go into a booth, record your lines, you're done, you're out of there.
Yeah, it must have been nice to be in Toronto.
Yeah, right. By the way, Pike's new chair, it looks nice, I like the woodwork, and we just know that it has to play a role in the plot, because you don't sit there and point it out unless it's going to become a thing in the plot.
Just like what happened between Declan and Scott?
I don't know, but more to come.
Yes, I just think that like a puppet as his strategy of getting back at him is is ill-conceived.
It is.
It's ill-conceived.
Yeah, you got 23rd century technology. They can do better. Yeah.
Let's go on to Act 1.
All right, let's do it. Here we go. Yes, indeed. They are all puppets, even to Pring, who arrived just before the accident. Now, naturally, Scotty is taking the blame for this transporter screw-up. And because Spock is the only non-puppet aboard, he's also the only one who can operate anything requiring hands or biometric verification. Scotty's first attempt to fix Lynn is unsuccessful, but there is an upside to being a puppet. When her arm falls off, sickbay just sews it back on. Spock is quickly overwhelmed by everyone's demands, and things get worse when an Orion pirate ship appears in the Enterprise's path. An open comm channel reveals the crew's rather fuzzy predicament.
That's great. In the next act, I love when Ortega says, maybe they didn't see us.
Yeah, it's a good way to open. Fuzzy Predicament, calling that now band name. I think it's a good one.
Ding, ding.
Yes, yeah, we got to. Okay, I do actually, look, if we're going to go here and we're going to say it's the puppet episode, I like the idea that in universe, of course, puppets can't operate everything on the Enterprise.
It's actually so clever. It works.
Is, yeah. So that part of the premise actually works, and it is a very good design point. Now, not everybody could be at San Diego Comic-Con this year, but we did a session about design, all of Star Trek's history, and said you actually need to have a combination of analog and digital design. That's what would make it work in real life. If you're on the Enterprise D and everything is touchscreen, oh, forget it. You're out of luck.
It's not going to work. Yeah, because that was my question, too. At what point, and someone who is far more nerdier about Star Trek can answer this to me, at what point can, like, autopilot take over? Or,
sure.
You know, like, how much could the computer help? Because, like, we fast forward to the Starfleet Academy era, and basically the computer's having a conversation with you. It could probably do the majority of this.
You could do voice control, or if you're that far advanced and you have programmable matter, you could just say, hey, ship,
build me a hand.
Work. Yeah, work for puppets, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And maybe they would have stayed puppets forever, but get more on that later.
Yeah.
Apelia being small is the funniest effing thing I've ever seen.
She's very funny in that form. Yes.
I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to understand her because she's hard to understand anyway. But for some reason, being behind the mic and like having to do the exaggerated Muppet voice totally works. And I think also Ortega doesn't get a lot to do in this episode, but she has a couple. Her voice sounds really fun in this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Question.
Yes.
How familiar are you with The Muppets Take Manhattan?
Ooh, it has been a long time.
So when they're trying to figure out how to run the Enterprise and they go,
Oh.
that happens in Muppets Take Manhattan, and there's some good things that Muppets do that they did, and that was like one of them that like made me feel happy.
And we have to state right at the top, all the puppetry in this was done by the Jim Henson Creature Shop. So it is very much cut from that cloth. Pun not intended, but fully realized.
Totally important. I just to like touch briefly on exactly what you said. I like that they not only played with the meme everyone but Spock, but the complications of everyone being a puppet.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, by the way, slapping Spock. That has now become a thing, and I think we need to back off.
Let's rein it back.
But yeah, let's just not quite as much if we could.
Two things I wanted to see when they turn into puppets is that slap. Yeah. And then I just was thinking how sad that Spock broke up with La'an, because who wouldn't want to kiss a puppet?
Hold tight.
I'm just saying some opportunities before we get to that part. I was like, oh, it's too bad they just broke up. They could have kissed. So it's, well, T'Pring's here. Anyway.
Hold tight. We just learned something about Jessica. Okay. All right.
Let's give us Act 2.
All right. The Orions find their opportunity and open fire. And the Enterprise takes heavy damage before Spock can launch photon torpedoes and lend engineering a hand, literally. But before long, the Orions board the ship. They incapacitate Spock with a phaser blast and tie him up in the bar.
Wow. So I was trying to get my bearings. This is not the first time I've expressed interest in a puppet.
Okay.
I am I'm in a situationship with a gentleman named Cucumber from
Okay.
Reception Studio, and apparently there are some 50 offspring. So it's a very deep cut of lore from people who know me from Hyper RPG days. But Cucumber, I guess I couldn't stay away. Or there's a world where whatever he is made it so that I could gestate 50 offspring very quickly.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
So deep. I hope you and your therapist are working all of this out.
There's gifts is my point. So
Okay.
if this is your particular kink, there you go. I was doing my best to keep it below PG-13.
Sure.
We got Rachel Harris,
Yes.
who is, love it. Perfect.
Yeah, really good there. And we got Joe Laturglio as the other Orion, and I think he does a fine job. These Orions are a little different. They're snarkier. I like their banter. Honestly, they're just a little more casual about everything, which, again, I know that
So
isn't
funny.
the classic Star Trek style where everything is very elevated, very heightened. But if you're doing the puppet episode, I think you need the Orions to be this way.
You need them to be character actors, and
Yes.
they chose two good ones.
Yeah.
She does say, it's nice to see you again, but we don't ever see her meet him. This is her first time on the show.
That's true. Yeah. I guess we're just establishing a little backstory there.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. Now, we do have a question. There's the moment where Spock comes out, and he's got the phaser, and there's the Orion landing party at the end of the hall, and he fires. He gets in one good shot, but then he doesn't keep firing, and he just kind of stands there and gets shot. I know that they have to capture Spock, but that seemed like a really lame way to capture Spock.
It is so what's the plan?
Yeah.
There's no duck, like he could have gotten two shots off if he did a little duck and
Get out of the way. Yeah.
okay, actually now I'm thinking about it. Maybe there's a world where he was self-sacrificing to throw them off the fact that T'Pring was there.
Could be, maybe.
He
But
looked just ineffective.
yeah. And he's the only person, flesh and blood person on board. He's got to be the one to take care of them.
He had
So,
no plan. He was
yeah.
as ineffective as Una punching repeatedly.
Yes.
It was strange. Maybe he was trying to like distract them while T'Pring got out of Dodge. Maybe.
Could be. All right. Well, let's move it along and see what happens.
Yes, please.
Act 3, the Orions easily take the bridge, overpowering the puppet crew, while Pike and the others retreat with a badly damaged Pelia down to his quarters. Now, they hatch a plan to rescue Spock, with Pike volunteering for the dangerous mission, and he doesn't get far. One Orion keeps Spock distracted while the others capture Pike, and when Spock refuses to surrender the Enterprise command codes, they jettison Pike out of an airlock, to the absolute horror of Spock and the crew, except, as Pelia points out, he's a puppet. Pike is fine. In fact, there he is now, floating past the window.
I knew that was going to be the case.
Of course.
I still love it. I feel so sad for Spock in this moment.
Sure.
And I got to say, this is one of the upcoming episodes of Ranking with Roddenberry we want to do is the coif of it all with Pike's
okay.
hair.
Oh, yeah,
Might
yeah,
be
yeah.
one of this is up there because
Yeah.
it's so well done. I am living for his line saying, "I have to save him so he can save us."
Yes.
Is
Yes.
so funny to me.
It's so very Pike. Yeah.
It's yes, and there's, listen, I'm along for the ride. At this point, are you in or?
All right,
we'll talk about it
I got
later.
final thoughts, but
Okay.
I do have to say, Tiny Pelia throwing things at the Orion captain, very funny.
Yes,
I thought that worked out very well. Pelia being cut in half was very disturbing.
It genuinely was. There was a couple things that they did that made this episode a horror episode.
Yeah, it really was. But then it sort of tips the hand a bit. Well, of course, Pike is going to be fine. In as much puppets maybe can feel cold, but we don't really know. He's going to be fine.
But
Yeah.
I am confused because Mbenga really does make a point to say we can lose a limb, but we're not organic, but we can die.
Yeah,
Apparently,
yeah,
nothing
yeah.
kills them. So
Right,
I don't know how they
exactly.
would die. Maybe it's old age.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very funny though.
The puppet effects are very well done. Again, you're working with the
Totally.
best of the best. By the way, speaking of things being well done, I have to say, this is my one little nitpick here. The Orion makeup has never looked as good as when Michael Westmore did it on Enterprise. So that was the best of the best from Star Trek 2009 and on. I feel like we've never hit that height again.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I think not. This is just overall Star Trek. Not deciding to divorce from Michael Westmore in general was just a mistake. I
it's
don't
insane.
really understand it.
It's insane. Yeah.
I don't really understand it. Good on you if you are a part of the art department. You're doing your darndest.
Right.
But there's a history there. Do you know what I mean?
Well, exactly. He knows
That's
the
all.
secrets. Like, get that man's knowledge, please, please.
We don't need to change that much of Trek to still have it be new Trek.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's just one direction I've never agreed with.
And of course, in here, speaking of recreations, we have to recreate the Wrath of Khan moment. Actually,
Why?
I know, but actually a recreation of the Into Darkness moment. Now,
Because it's the captain and Spock this time. Yep.
Yeah, and I really have to wonder, would I have been more accepting of this in the absurdity of a puppet episode if we did not have that moment in Into Darkness? You know? Because Into Darkness, really trying to play it for the drama, heightened action, but trying to play it for the drama. Here, we know it's silly. So if you're doing the meme episode, then you can do the meme.
So are you saying it's a good or a bad thing?
I'm saying that it would have been better if we didn't already have one, because it's one of those, again, where it's like, okay, Star Trek, I'll give you one. If you're going to self-reference like that, I'll give you one. And maybe if I could take back the Into Darkness one, this would have been even better.
Well, I can see that. I'm not going to push back fully. I will say that just even the fact that he's connected to Pike, it's not Jim that he's doing this with. He loves Pike, but the emotional stakes for Spock in general are just different.
Sure.
And it is a meme, it is a joke, they're self-referencing, and they cut him off. He doesn't even finish it.
I'm glad about that. Yeah.
And I think because we've seen it twice now, that's why they're like, see you later. Like, it's a visual joke and they're moving on.
I honestly would have cut it even tighter. You
Yeah,
know, you could almost have
totally.
them go for the window and then get sucked out of the airlock.
Totally. We get Sam Kirk's intestines. We could just have him ripped into space.
There you go.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's exactly right.
All right, let's wrap it up. Act 4. Newly invigorated, Pike inspires the crew to think like puppets and use it to their tactical advantage. Let the small fuzzy chaos begin. T'Pring allows herself to be captured so she can free Spock. The others get past the guard outside Pike's quarters using the inevitable 3 puppets in a trench coat maneuver. The puppets retake the bridge while Spock makes a beeline for the captain's chair. With the Orions distracted, they don't realize that he's shut down life support. The pirates pass out. So does Spock. He wakes in sickbay surrounded by his grateful puppet crew. Scotty manages to reverse the accident, but nobody is in a hurry to change back just yet. First, an unencumbered spacewalk, no spacesuits required. The crew enjoys one last round of puppet hijinks, while T'Pring comes to appreciate the camaraderie and creativity that helped the Enterprise crew save one another. And
What a good episode.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry, there's more. And then Spock wakes up. For real. Yeah. Okay, bear with me here. The real T'Pring is at the foot of his bed with absolutely no memory of being a puppet. There was a transporter accident, but it left Spock unconscious, dreaming that his entire crew had been transformed. And sitting on Spock's desk, courtesy of Scotty, is one very familiar good luck charm, Little Ricky. The end.
Little Ricky is haunted now. I do think so.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta say,
next year,
go ahead.
STLV, we're going to see a lot of Little Rickies, I bet.
Oh, gross. I don't come up and talk to me if you're Little Ricky. I will say this, when Spock releases the buoys in order to increase the ability of the transporter to work, I thought it was odd that Scotty engaged the transporter while Spock was still on the shuttle.
Sure. Yeah, well, but maybe you need the distant observer Maybe. I don't know. Maybe there's a way to justify it, you know.
I guess I think the risk was high is what I'm trying to say. And like Scotty is inventing a distance that hasn't been done yet. I think there's too many variables, and one of your people being out in a shuttle close to that shuttle that the buoy that just released it makes sense that he got hurt. Like,
right.
Ultimately, that I was watching that going, you should wait until he's not on board. Until he's on board.
Yeah.
The Dark Crystal of it all. Did that read Dark Crystal to you when they came out in 3 puppets in a coat?
I didn't think of it until now, but yes, absolutely. And that's a moment that had to happen. You had to have
so
the 3
funny
in there. Yeah. I love Puppet T'Pring. I mean, T'Pring is a great character anyway, but seeing her as a puppet navigate this, a lot of fun.
They did a really great job with her face in particular, because you can read how she's feeling, and there's just enough extra fabric around her mouth to go, oh, she is so upset.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you're Ethan Peck, though, you're a little sad you don't have a puppet of yourself.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe they did one just as a favor. I would if it were me. Yeah, I hope so. Puppet Mbenga is still carrying around a lot of that darkness.
The eyes, when his eyes are he's scary, and this is where it's horror part 2, where he takes the knitting needles and basically kneecaps the guy.
Yes, I was cringing. Yes.
And then you just like casually see him continually stabbing the guy over and over in the back. It's terrible. I loved the moment with like La'an and Una. In no world would puppets be able to do that, but you got the La'an superhero jump. I felt like Scotty was an analog for Beaker.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. He works like that. Almost can't understand him either. So that's...
Oh, there you go. That's totally fair.
Yeah. If we were to find a message here, I think the whole idea of hijinks being not the obstacle, but they are the solution. Kind of a fun thing, because Spock has to internalize something out of his dream experience. And by the way, why did Spock not go on the bridge with a phaser? That's another time that he does. He walks in there sort of like glassy-eyed, what's going to happen next?
Because it's a dream.
Because it's a dream. There you go.
That's why.
Yeah. But I do love Spock waking up with the blurry puppets over him. You know.
So I mean, I didn't understand what they had done until like he wasn't speaking for so long. That was very clever, though. Yeah. Like I was like, what is the plan?
Right.
And I heard some things from the chair in the background, and I didn't know if he was doing like an overload, like he was going to blow them up or something.
Right.
But that really clever. I love that he passes out. It's very funny to me. Like I said, I wanted to see him kiss a puppet, and he did.
And
they cut away, and I look forward to all your fanfic.
I don't. This is one of the things, though, that like when you establish that a starship has the ability to turn off life support or the ability to send knockout gas through the corridors, which they did in Voyager, this is the kind of episode where if you're thinking logically like that, you could take Spock and you just literally go to the one room where he is safe, hit the button, episode's over. We're done.
I think you're exactly right with regards to that. We didn't need to go through the rigmarole of it all. Yeah. How many times have we been on a ship that life support isn't working?
Sure.
And there's more oxygen than that.
Sure.
So they must have vacuumed out or something. But I gotta say, I know I cold called that like Pike was gonna wake up and it was all a dream. They did that.
Yeah. They did. Okay.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying they did that.
Okay. All right. Well, overall thoughts on the episode.
I actually liked it. I was bought in. It was fun. I don't know where the Muppets will actually be in that in 200, 300 years from now, but this was fun. Might as well.
It was fun. I laughed. But here's the thing. When I went back to write my notes for this episode, my note from last week's episode was style over substance. I like the style, but am I getting the substance from it? It's funny. I laughed. Yeah, seeing our characters as Muppets. Look, this has happened before. You can go online and look for like Pixar versions of Star Trek characters. Whatever, like it exists out there. People are creative.
It's definitely
and they
a
do
meme.
that.
You're totally right.
It is, but did it need to be again 1/10 of a season here? I don't know. I want to hear what everybody else says. Do you have a standout moment?
I think that if it's not Pelia being perfectly suited to being a puppet, I actually really liked every time they flung Pike and they flung him at the end. It was like a very Lord of the Rings moment where he tosses the dwarf and he gets to slow-mo. There were some fun moments.
Sure.
I just enjoyed all that. What about you?
I'm definitely amused by the Orions, like I said before. And I look, I'm with you on this. They went there with Spock kissing the puppet to Pring.
And it's not necessarily canon in their relationship, so that's fine.
Right. It's like Chekhov's puppet. If they're going to be there, then it has to go off. It has to happen.
And I genuinely bought into his emotional feelings for T'Pring in this episode. I don't know why. I really was like, oh, he is struggling. Everyone who's like against romance Spock doesn't know Spock, and he was feeling some feelings.
Spock has the deep feels. He's struggling with them. That's all.
Yeah. Do you have a question going forward?
I have the same question I did last week, Jessica. Can we do style experiments that actually serve the story? And this, if it's just the funny one-off, then it's a funny one-off. But every other episode has been a funny one-off.
Well, I think we knew that, John. I have to reiterate. I think we knew that from the showrunners going, there's no big bad, there's no arc. They're trying to do episodic, but the problem is they're doing stylized episodic, or whether you think that's a problem or not.
Well, do we feel like I kind of, look, I love Lower Decks to death. I love what Mike McMahon and his whole team did because they had such great success with comedy. Do you think Strange New Worlds will go, oh, but we can be the funny live action show? And one of the ways we'll do that is by all these style parodies. Every now and then we'll slip in, a horror episode, or we'll slip in the film noir episode, or we'll do a character drama. But watch out, because we can be wacky too.
Here's what I'm going to say. I think, and this is maybe a question that I'll look forward to being answered moving forward, they may be just trying to see what sticks right now. They are so unsure of what the audience wants from Star Trek, that because this is a different show than what started in season 1.
Completely.
And they may be looking at this to see, what does the audience want? Does the audience want a funny? Do they want it serious? Do they want it puppets? And so this is probably what's happening.
All right. I have some final thoughts.
Here you go.
Thank you. All right.
Okay. There you go. I'm trying to do like a puppet.
a little puppet thing. Yeah. All right. So clearly, this whole thing comes from that internet question from years ago. Take a movie or a TV show and replace every character except for one with Muppets, and what do you get? Now, one of the popular answers was The Wrath of Khan, with everyone as puppets except Ricardo Montalban, and that is hilarious to imagine. But does it still work when you take the meme and actually make an episode of Star Trek out of it? Because Strange New Worlds has fully embraced what I'm starting to think of as the style parody of the week instead of the alien forehead of the week. We've had the musical, we've had Casablanca, the dinosaur episode, and now Star Trek Puppet Edition. And don't get me wrong, Star Trek is an incredibly flexible format. Over the years, it has successfully handled comedy, horror, courtroom drama, romance, westerns, just about anything you can throw at it. So is this fun? Yes. Did I laugh? Absolutely. Do the puppets capture their flesh and blood counterparts in some surprisingly funny ways? Definitely 100%. But again, with only 10 episodes in a modern season, I keep coming back to the question of what we get besides the experiment. There's a little something here about Spock learning that hijinks aren't necessarily the enemy of logic. Sometimes breaking out of your usual way of thinking is exactly what solves the problem. And you could argue that Spock wakes up a little better off for having experienced all of this. But that's less immoral than a footnote, especially because the episode ultimately pulls the emergency brake marked, "It was all a dream." As far as I can remember, Star Trek has somehow made it through more than 1,000 episodes without using that particular escape hatch. So congratulations, Strange New Worlds. You finally really did it. And I'm sorry to inform the producers, that you don't get to do it again. And that is ultimately where I'm torn. In a 26-episode season, give me the puppet episode, go nuts. But when we only get 10, every episode feels a little more precious, and we spent one of those 10 on another elaborate style experiment that by design gets erased from reality before the credits roll. And maybe that's perfectly okay. Maybe sometimes Star Trek gets to exist simply because somebody had a wonderfully ridiculous idea and committed to the bit. But I can't quite shake the feeling that this particularly wonderfully ridiculous idea might have been better as a graphic novel. Because sometimes the question, wouldn't it be hilarious if, is more fun than actually finding out.
I have a lot of thoughts, and because this episode's wrapping up, I may not get into them. But ultimately, do we even care about these characters enough to know how they feel in a 10-season arc, or is this the best way they're used? Because we all know we're careening towards Pike's future.
Yeah.
Why didn't we just do that in a movie?
Yeah, right. We've got 11 more episodes in total of Strange New Worlds. Yeah.
To wrap up the story.
Yep.
So they probably are just like seeing what we want.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be, I just realized now we already did a documentary. We're probably going to do a YouTube video this season, and I'm calling it now.
Okay. All right. You have a lot of bold predictions. I cannot wait to hear what everybody else has to say.
Thank you so much for joining us for Mission Log Reactor this week. I would be a puppet if I could be.
Okay, fair enough. Look, everybody, you know what to do. Comment, share, let us know what you think, and please join us live on Patreon, because we will be back next time reacting to the next episode of Strange New Worlds, and we will talk to you live Monday night, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. Until then, everybody, bye.